She said, "I'm going on spring break. You're not invited." I said, "Have fun." While she was gone, I saw her texts. So I packed everything, hers and mine, and moved out. The lease was in my name, so I found a new tenant. She came home tanned and smiling. Her key didn't work. A stranger answered the door. "You must be the ex. Your boxes are in the garage." Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I think the exact moment I fell out of love with Jessica wasn't when she told me I wasn't invited. It was when she asked me to print her boarding pass for the trip she was taking to get away from me. We had been living together for 2 years. In that time, the dynamic had shifted so slowly I hadn't even noticed the weight of it until it was crushing me. I was 29, working 50 hours a week in project management, paying the rent, the utilities, the car insurance, and the grocery bill. Jessica was 25, working part-time as a social media consultant, which mostly meant scrolling TikTok and taking photos of lattes I paid for. I didn't mind the money. I'm old-fashioned like that. I like providing. But there is a difference between providing for a partner and subsidizing a parasite. I was about to learn that difference the hard way. It was a Tuesday night. I had just come home from a 10-hour shift to find the apartment in chaos. Clothes were everywhere, bikinis, sheer cover-ups, heels that looked impossible to walk in. Jessica was in the bedroom, frantically stuffing things into a suitcase that I had bought her for her birthday. "Hey," I said, stepping over a pile of rejected outfits. "What's going on?" She didn't even look up. "Packing. Cabo. Thursday." I blinked, setting my keys on the dresser. "Cabo? We didn't talk about Cabo." She finally looked at me, rolling her eyes as if I were a slow child. "I told you, Mark. Sarah and the girls are going. It's a spring break thing. A hot girl summer preview. We need this." "Okay," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "And when were you planning on telling me? And am I going?" She laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. It was the kind of laugh you give someone when they suggest something utterly ridiculous. "Mark, God, no. You're not invited," she said, turning back to the mirror to hold up a white dress that was more net than fabric. "It's a girls' trip. No boyfriends allowed. Besides, you'd just kill the vibe. You're always so serious. You'd probably want to go to bed at midnight and complain about the music. We're going to party." I stood there, feeling the heat rise in my chest. "I pay for this apartment, Jess. I pay for your car. I haven't taken a vacation in 3 years because I'm saving for a house for us. And you're telling me you're blowing $2,000 to go party in Cabo with your single friends, and I'm killing the vibe?" She spun around, her face twisting into that familiar mask of victimhood. "Oh, here we go? Throwing money in my face again. You know I'm building my brand, Mark. Networking is part of my job. And honestly, this controlling attitude is exactly why I need a break. You're suffocating me." Suffocating her. The irony was thick enough to choke on. I took a breath. I looked at her, really looked at her. I saw the entitlement in her posture, the lack of gratitude in her eyes. I realized then that she didn't see me as a boyfriend. She saw me as a utility. I was the electricity, the water, the Wi-Fi. You don't thank the electricity for working. You just get annoyed when it flickers. "Fine," I said. The fight drained out of me instantly. It was replaced by something colder. Something permanent. "You're right. You need a break. Go to Cabo. Have the time of your life." She stopped packing, surprised by my sudden surrender. A smug smile crept onto her face. She walked over and patted my cheek, patronizingly. "See, was that so hard? I knew you'd get it eventually. Oh, by the way, can you transfer me like $500? Just for emergencies. Sarah says the clubs have high covers." I stared at her. A specific gear in my brain shifted. It was the gear that controlled my empathy, and I felt it disengage. "Sure," I said. "I'll send it right now." I sent the money. I printed her boarding pass. I even drove her to the airport the next morning. The car ride was silent on my end, while she chattered away about the VIP tables Sarah had allegedly promised. When we pulled up to the terminal, she didn't kiss me goodbye. She just checked her makeup in the visor mirror, opened the door, and said, "Don't wait up when I get back next week. I might crash at Sarah's if we land late." "Have fun, Jess," I said. "Bye, Mark. Try not to be so boring while I'm gone." She slammed the door and strutted toward the terminal, dragging the suitcase I bought, wearing the clothes I paid for, on a trip funded by my overtime. I drove home in silence. The apartment was quiet. For the first time in 2 years, it felt peaceful. I walked into the living room and sat on the couch. That's when I saw it. In her rush to leave, Jessica had left her old iPad on the coffee table. She usually kept it for watching Netflix while she cooked, or, more accurately, while she watched me cook, but it was synced to her iMessage account. It dinged. I'm not a snooper. I respect privacy. But the screen lit up, and the preview was right there in bold letters. It was a group chat named Cabo Bitches Palm Tree Tropical Drink. Sarah, did you get the money? Jessica, LMAO yes. The wallet came through. Sent me $500 for emergencies. Sarah, God, he is such a simp. Does he know about Stefan meeting us there? My blood turned to ice. Stefan was her ex from college. The one she swore she blocked. The one she told me was toxic and broke, but great in bed. Jessica, hell no. He thinks I'm going to find myself. Rolling on the floor laughing, I told him he's too boring to come. Imagine bringing Mark to a club? He'd just stand there looking like a dad. I need a week off from playing house with him. I need to get messy. Sarah, well, get ready. Stefan got a table at the Mandala. We are going to be single for the next 7 days. Jessica, correction, I am single until I need rent paid next month. Let's go. Airplane. I sat there for a long time, staring at the word wallet. She didn't just cheat on me. She had monetized me. She had turned our relationship into a subscription service, and she was currently on the free trial of another guy while I footed the bill. I put the iPad down gently. I didn't scream. I didn't throw it against the wall. I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. It was the clarity of a man who finally realizes the building is burning and knows exactly where the exit is. I looked around the apartment. The lease was in my name. The security deposit was from my bank account. The furniture was mine. The TV was mine. Even the plates in the sink were mine. She wanted to be single? She wanted a life without the boring guy who paid for everything? Okay, Jessica, I whispered to the empty room. Proposal accepted. I pulled out my phone and dialed my landlord. Hey, Mr. Henderson? It's Mark. Yeah, everything is fine. Listen, I need to talk to you about the lease. I'm moving out. Today. Mr. Henderson, my landlord, is a grumpy Vietnam vet who generally hates everyone. But he really hated Jessica. She had called him at 11 p.m. once because a light bulb went out, and another time because she saw a spider. When I told him I was leaving and that the rent checks would stop, he didn't panic. He just grunted. Is the girl staying? He asked. No, I said. She can't afford it. And she's not on the lease. It's a clean break. Good, he wheezed. She's a pain in the ass. You want your deposit back, the place better be spotless. It will be. Actually, Mr. Henderson, I have a buddy from the gym looking for a place. His name is Dave. He's quiet, pays cash, and he's an electrician, so he won't call you about light bulbs. Send him over. The logistics were brutally simple. Because I had protected myself financially, keeping everything in my name because Jessica had anxiety about bills, dismantling our life was as easy as canceling a Netflix subscription. I called Dave. Dave is a brick shithouse of a human being, 6'4", bald, tattooed, and works in high-voltage line repair. He's the nicest guy you'll ever meet, but he looks like he eats barbed wire for breakfast. He'd been crashing on his brother's couch after a bad breakup of his own. The place is yours starting Monday, I told him. But there's a catch. You have to deal with the handover. What handover? My ex is coming back from Cabo next Thursday. She doesn't know I moved out. Dave laughed, a deep rumble. Say less. I'll change the locks on Monday night. I spent the next 3 days erasing my existence. Packing my stuff was easy. Packing her stuff required a level of detachment I didn't know I possessed. I didn't burn her clothes. I didn't cut the heels off her shoes. I didn't do anything that would make me the villain in court. I went to Home Depot and bought 20 heavy-duty cardboard boxes and a roll of black trash bags. I cleared out her closet. The designer dresses I bought her, folded once, then dropped into a box. Her makeup collection that took up the entire bathroom counter, swept into a plastic bin with a calm arm motion. Her shoes, tossed into trash bags. I labeled nothing. By Sunday night, the apartment was unrecognizable. My furniture was in a storage unit. The walls were patched and painted white. The carpets were steam cleaned. The fridge was empty, wiped down with bleach. The only thing left in the entire apartment was a single envelope on the kitchen counter for Dave, containing the garage remote and the mailbox key. I took her boxes, her entire life, and stacked them in the detached garage. It wasn't a climate-controlled garage. It was damp, dusty, and home to a few spiders. I piled them high, right next to where the oil stains were. I locked the garage door. I left the apartment key on the counter. As I walked out that front door for the last time, I didn't feel sad. I checked my phone. I had missed a call from Jessica. Then a text. Jessica, service is trash here. Miss you, babe. Transfer another $200? Stefan, Sarah wants to get bottle service. Face blowing a kiss, I didn't reply. I got into my truck, blocked her on Venmo, blocked her on Cash App, and drove to my new life. I wasn't there to see it, but Dave filled me in later. The mental image is something I cherish to this day. It was Thursday afternoon. Jessica arrived in an Uber. She was tan, her hair was braided, and she was visibly hungover. She dragged her suitcase up the walkway, probably expecting me to be waiting at the door like a golden retriever to carry her bags. She got to the door. She dropped her bag. She fished her key out of her purse. She slid it into the lock. It went in, but it didn't turn. She jiggled it. Nothing. She pulled it out, blew on it, and tried again. Still nothing. She started pounding on the door. Mark, wake up. The lock is jammed. Mark. She was probably getting ready to call me and scream about how incompetent I was for letting the lock break while she was gone. Then, the deadbolt slid back with a heavy thunk. The door opened. Standing there wasn't me. It was Dave. He was wearing a grease-stained tank top, eating corn pops out of a mixing bowl, and he filled the entire door frame. Jessica froze. She took a step back, checking the apartment number. Who are you? Dave chewed slowly, swallowed, and looked her up and down. I'm Dave. Who are you? I live here, she snapped, her entitlement kicking in instantly. Where is Mark? What are you doing in my apartment? Your apartment? Dave chuckled. No, darling. This is my apartment. Signed the lease on Monday. Paid the deposit on Tuesday. Moved in yesterday. Jessica's face went pale beneath her tan. That's not possible. My stuff is here. My furniture. She tried to push past him. Dave didn't budge. He just leaned his arm against the doorframe, creating a solid wall of muscle. Ain't no furniture in here except my recliner and a TV. Place was empty when I got it. Empty. Her voice cracked. No, Mark wouldn't. Where's Mark? Mark. Dave scratched his beard. Oh, the previous tenant. Nice guy? Yeah, he mentioned you. He mentioned me? Yeah, Dave said, pointing a spoon toward the driveway. He said if a girl named Jessica showed up looking like she'd just spent a week partying on his dime, I should tell her to check the garage. The garage? Yup. He said your boxes are in there. I put a padlock on it, but the code is 1-2-3-4. You got about 2 hours to get your shit out of there before I leave for my shift. I'm locking the gate when I go, and I don't get back till morning. Dave started to close the door. Wait, she screamed, jamming her foot in the jamb. You can't do this. I live here. I have rights. You're not on the lease, lady, Dave said, his voice dropping an octave. And you're trespassing. Get your boxes and get off my porch. He slammed the door. My phone rang 3 minutes later. I was sitting on the balcony of my new place, a high-rise condo downtown that I had always wanted but Jessica said was too industrial. I was drinking a cold beer and watching the sunset. I looked at the caller ID. Jessica. I let it ring twice. Then I answered, voice calm, steady, professional. Hello. What the hell is going on? She was shrieking so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. Where are you? Who is this psycho in our apartment? Where's my stuff? I took a sip of beer. Hey, Jessica. Glad you made it back safely. Don't you hey Jessica me? Why is my key not working? Why is my stuff in the garage? Mark, this isn't funny. Fix this right now. There's nothing to fix, I said. I moved out. Just like you wanted. I didn't want you to move out. I went on vacation. No, I corrected her. You went on a singles trip. You told your friends in the group chat that you were free of the wallet for a week. You called me a simp. You laughed about me funding your time with Stefan. There was silence on the other end. Dead, heavy silence. The sound of someone realizing they didn't just burn a bridge, they nuked the island. Ah, you saw that. Her voice was small now, trembling. I saw it. I read every word. The wallet is closed, Jessica. The account is overdrawn. The lease was in my name, so I terminated it. The furniture was mine, so I took it. The only things in that garage are the things you bought with your own money, which, from what I could tell, wasn't much. Mark, please, she started crying now. The fake, panic-induced tears of someone facing consequences for the first time. It was just talk. It was just a joke with the girls. I love you. You can't just leave me homeless. You're not homeless, I said, my voice devoid of any sympathy. You're just single. You wanted the lifestyle, Jess. You wanted to be independent and free. Congratulations. You made it. But I have nowhere to go. Sarah won't answer her phone. My parents are in Ohio. Mark, please, come get me. I'll explain everything. You have 2 hours before Dave locks the gate, I said. I suggest you stop calling me and start calling a U-Haul. Goodbye, Jessica. I hung up. Then, I blocked the number. I sat there for another hour, watching the city lights come on, feeling a lightness in my chest I hadn't felt in years. I was alone, but for the first time in a long time, I wasn't lonely. I was free. I learned the details of the next 24 hours through a combination of Dave, a few mutual friends, and the sheer predictability of a narcissist collapsing. Dave told me that she spent the first hour crying on the curb, surrounded by her trash-bagged wardrobe. Eventually, she realized the damsel in distress act wasn't working on a 250-pound electrician who just wanted to watch ESPN. She called a generic moving company, but since it was after 5 p.m., they charged her an emergency premium. She had to put it on her own credit card, the one with the $2,000 limit that was already nearly maxed out from Cabo. She didn't go to a hotel. She went to Sarah's place. This was the part that gave me the most satisfaction. Sarah, the ringleader of the hot girl summer trip, lived in a studio apartment the size of a shoebox. She liked the idea of Jessica being single and fun, but she absolutely did not like the reality of Jessica being homeless and depressed on her love seat. The sisterhood lasted exactly 3 days. By Monday, Sarah had kicked her out. Apparently, Jessica was bringing down the vibe by crying about me constantly and eating all of Sarah's food. Then came the social media spiral. On Tuesday, Jessica tried the nuclear option. She posted a long, tearful Instagram story claiming I had abandoned her and thrown her on the street out of jealousy. She tried to paint me as abusive. It backfired spectacularly. See, people aren't stupid. Our mutual friends knew I paid for everything. They knew I drove a 2015 truck while she drove a leased Audi I made the payments on. When I stopped making those payments, the car was repossessed within 3 weeks. One of my buddies, Mike, replied to her post publicly. Didn't you just post last week that you were free of the wallet and hooking up with Stefan in Cabo? Pretty sure Mark just gave you what you asked for. She deleted the post an hour later. And Stefan? The great in bed ex she cheated on me with? As soon as she texted him that she was single and needed a place to crash, he blocked her number. He was looking for a fun fling in Mexico, not a girlfriend with no job, no car, and 5 boxes of baggage. Without me as her safety net, Jessica's life didn't just stumble, it plummeted. She had no savings. Her credit score was abysmal because I wasn't there to fix it anymore. She couldn't afford an apartment in the city. 2 weeks after she returned from spring break, she had to move back in with her parents in Ohio. I heard her dad made her get a job as a shift manager at a retail chain. The party was over. 6 months later, I was standing in the lighting aisle of a Home Depot on a Saturday morning. Life was good. Actually, life was incredible. I had used the money I was no longer lighting on fire to upgrade my wardrobe, join a boxing gym, and invest in a new condo. I was down 20 pounds, my skin was clear, and my bank account was growing. I wasn't alone. I was with Claire. Claire was everything Jessica wasn't. She was an architect, successful, grounded, and fiercely independent. We were looking at pendant lights for our kitchen, not because I was paying for it, but because we were splitting the renovation costs on a place we bought together. What do you think of the matte black? Claire asked, holding up a fixture. Too modern. It's perfect, I smiled. Matches the... I stopped. Coming down the aisle, pushing a cart with a broken wheel, was a woman who looked vaguely familiar. She was wearing sweatpants that were stained at the knee and a faded hoodie. Her roots had grown out, showing dark brown against the harsh, brassy blonde dye job that was months old. She looked tired, worn down. It took me a second to realize it was Jessica. She looked up and saw me. She froze. Her eyes went wide, scanning me from my new boots to the expensive watch on my wrist, and finally to Claire, who looked like $1 million in simple jeans and a blazer. Jessica dropped her hand from the cart. Mark, I didn't panic. My heart didn't even race. I just felt bored. Hello, Jessica, I said. My tone was polite, distant. The same tone I'd use for a cashier. She took a step forward, ignoring Claire completely. A desperate, fake smile plastered itself onto her face. Wow, you look amazing. I heard you stayed in the city. I did. I'm back for the weekend, she said quickly, the words tumbling out. Visiting Sarah? Well, trying to. She's being weird. Look, Mark, I've been thinking about you so much. Ohio is a nightmare. I've really grown a lot. I realized I was immature back then. I was just confused. She reached out, trying to touch my arm. I took a smooth step back, putting myself out of reach. I'm glad you're growing, Jessica, I said. Can we grab coffee? She asked, her voice pitching up, desperate. Just to talk? I feel like we never got closure. I made a mistake, Mark. A huge mistake. I miss us. I miss your cooking. I miss how safe you made me feel. Claire, bless her, didn't say a word. She just watched, eyebrow raised, sensing she didn't need to intervene. I looked at Jessica. I saw the manipulation. I saw the panic of a woman who had realized the grass wasn't greener, it was scorched earth. She didn't miss me. She missed the lifestyle I provided. She missed the wallet. We don't need closure, I said calmly. You closed the door when you got on that plane to Cabo. I just locked it behind you. But I can fix it, she pleaded, tears forming in her eyes. I'm sorry. I'll do anything. Please, Mark. Just one coffee. I looked at Claire. Ready to go? I think we're done here. Yep, Claire said, looping her arm through mine. I looked back at Jessica one last time. I didn't smile. I didn't frown. I just looked at her like she was a stranger. There's no us to fix, Jessica. You wanted a life where you didn't have to answer to me. You have it. Enjoy it. We turned our cart and walked away. Mark, she called out behind us, her voice cracking. Mark, please. I didn't look back. I didn't slow down. Who was that? Claire asked quietly once we were in the next aisle. I picked up a box of light bulbs, checked the wattage, and tossed them into the cart. Nobody, I said. Just an old bill I finished paying off. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.